What's the scariest thing you've ever heard a child say? When I was 19, I thought I was invincible. A few friends and I went hiking in the middle of summer without much preparation. I figured a couple bottles of water would be enough. Spoiler, it wasn't. About halfway through the trail, the heat hit hard, and suddenly I realized just how fast dehydration sets in. My head started spinning, my mouth felt like sandpaper, and I could barely walk straight. That was the first time I realized nature doesn't care about your confidence. I went upstairs to check on her, thinking maybe she had her tablet or a toy. When I peeked in, she was sitting up in bed facing the wall. I said, "Who are you talking to, kiddo?" And she said, completely calm, "The man who comes when it's dark." I froze. I laughed a little and said, "Oh yeah? What's his name?" She looked right at me and whispered, "He doesn't have one. He says he used to, but it's gone now." That's when I noticed her eyes were fixed on something behind me. I turned around, half expecting to see a coat rack or a shadow, but there was nothing. I tucked her in and tried to act normal, but I didn't sleep much after that. The next morning, I asked her mom if she'd mentioned anything weird before. She laughed and said, "Oh yeah, she talks to her night friend. She says he lives in the hall." I tried to joke about it, but the mom noticed I looked nervous and said, "Don't worry." The last babysitter said the same thing. Apparently, every sitter they'd had since moving into that house mentioned something similar. Hearing whispers, footsteps when the kids were asleep, toys moving around at night. I didn't believe in ghosts, so I brushed it off. But that night, after the parents went out again, the house just felt heavier. Around midnight, I heard a quiet knock. It wasn't from the door, it was coming from upstairs, the same direction as the hallway. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, debating if I should go up or just wait it out. The knocking stopped, but then I heard the little girl's voice. "He says you can't stay here." I ran upstairs, heart pounding, and found her standing in the hallway facing the same wall she'd been staring at before. Her eyes were wide open, but she looked half asleep. When I gently shook her, she blinked and asked, "Why are you scared?" Then she smiled and said, "He's gone now." I quit the next morning. I didn't even wait for my paycheck. The mom seemed oddly understanding, like she'd seen it happen before. To this day, I can't explain it. I don't believe in ghosts, but I also can't explain why. Sometimes, when I wake up at night, I still hear faint knocking sounds from the hallway of my own apartment.